Staring directly at the sun. Sun's filtering, there it is, black dot. On again. So we didn't have the sun, but we had the black dot. Center. Minute, 10 minutes to go. Then I realized I was going blind from the center out. Let's see. The clouds have reformed. It's now a very, very long distance to the blue sky for the sun. With a chance in a few seconds for a break. There it is. Nibiru. The glow you can see is the wings. Coming out again. Full heat of the sun. So it's lined up with the sun in a eclipse. Perfectly aligned. Oh yeah. Now this will make a ripping yarn.
RAS, Earth is entering a stream of solar wind blowing almost 500 kilometers s or 1.1 million mph. First contact on January 28 sparked tall curtains of light around the Arctic Circle. Harald Albrechtsen sends this picture of the display from Skulsfjord, Troms, Norway. At first there was little auroral activity, but being patient paid off, says Albrechtsen. He photographed the explosion of light using a Nikon D600 digital camera set at ISO 3200 ISO for 3 seconds. Arctic photographers, take note of those settings because more auroras are on the way. NOAA forecasters estimate a 25% to 40% chance of polar geomagnetic storms on January 29 to 30, as Earth moves deeper into the solar wind stream. Active sunspot turns toward Earth. Big sunspot R1967 near the sun's southeastern limb is crackling with solar flares. As January 29 unfolds, it is producing an average of one impulsive M-class explosion every 2 hours. Sam Freeland of the Lockheed Martin Solar and Astrophysics Lab produced this interest-compressed 12.5-hour movie of the active region. So far, none of the explosions has been Earth-directed, but future flares will be as the sunspot continues its slow turn toward our planet. NOAA forecasters have doubled the odds of a 10-class flare in the next 24 hours to 10%. Meanwhile, M-class flares seem almost certain as the crackling continues. Solar flare alerts, text, voice. The primary dark core of R1967 is twice as wide as Earth. This makes it an easy target for small telescopes equipped with solar filters. This morning at the Langkawi National Observatory in Malaysia, astronomer Kurzaman Ahmad photographed the sunspot using an 11-inch celestron. I wanted to take a closer look at the monster numbered R1967, says Ahmed. It is impressive. For more impressive shots of the monster.
Okay folks, this is more truth coming at you. As soon as I put the flash in, I might even upload this picture before my other video. So we had a 7.3 out there folks, just right after the same electrical magnet times that I'm showing you. We got 2119. Okay, I'm going to find out where the supergiants are at folks. Okay, we're going to find out where they are at. Today is it's 2119 GMT, which is Zulu time folks, and it is down there 4:21 p.m. 9:15. Okay, and we are going to see what's going on, because we had a 7.3 and a 5.1. The 5.1 was what got me, and now we got a 7.3 down there folks. Okay, so that happened at, we'll find the location here. I'll go to USGS real fast and I'll make this a short video. But we got a massive 7.3 out in New Zealand pretty much around the same time, and you're going to see the video that I shot before this. I'll throw this on the internet first folks. Holy cow folks, this is a series, and we got a 7.3 and a 5.1 following it, and it's at the time that I am talking about that we are getting these massive quakes, and it's electrical magna folks. And we've got the pictures and the stills to prove it. Watch the next video. I'll try to keep it short. It was long. I'll see if I can chop it down. I might need help from people to try to get these videos up faster. Get somebody that I can throw them to, or nonprofit, Bino Black LLP, and we at 2119, somewhere close around there. I'll bring the USGS thing up in a minute, but look at the massive 7.3 folks. It's been a long time since we had that big a quake. Well, not that long, but it's a big bugger folks. Massive, massive, massive. It looks like it's down there, our brothers down there in New Zealand folks. They've been getting their butts shook off for a long time. Now people down there that live there, they say, well, we don't feel it too much. I don't know if that's all true, if someone's just trying to discount it or whatever. But we'll go to USGS. So this is the 15th, folks, 4:22 p.m. Central Time. And I just started trying to get ready to download the next video, folks. I'll put this out first. It was in Fiji, folks. pretty much that whole area down there, and it gets the bombardment from the triangulation. And we got a light problem again here, folks, because of the brightness. I've been trying to keep the drapes closed so I don't get these light flares in here. Alright, folks, so superheating and that Fuka fudge up doesn't help things out too much, folks. So I don't know if we'll list this as part of it, but we'll put holy cow on it, and we're getting the electrical magnet down, folks. And check the next video. Keep this one short and check the next one. It's kind of long, see if I can cut it down. But this happened right after I was going to upload the proof of the first holy cow, Ellen Sister's Cousins. I can't even remember what I put on it for her name, folks. It's got a lot of views. I don't think it's going to go viral, but this stuff might eventually, because it's electrical magnet, folks, and it's the truth. Later, I'll upload this now. Like I say, it's 4:24 now, p.m. Central Time, and we got earthquakes, folks. 7.3. Let's get rid of this, go back to it coming around the earth, and there she is. Older now. I'll get the solar, throw that on there. And the shell, and there you go, folks. Look at that, massive. Okay? That shell, that's not the sun, folks. It's too large. It's the supergiants, folks. The supergiants. That's a big solar hit. Well, if it is the sun, it's the sun and those massive flares that the supergiants and the sun are putting off. The sun is in the supergiants, folks. I can prove it to you. I got pictures of it, of actual data from astronomers, telescopes, and everything like that. That is a massive earthquake. 7.3. We'll get this up right away. Holy cow, folks. Holy cow. And we got electrical magnet, folks, caught on tape. We got the pictures to prove it. I'll upload those. It's kind of good that they haven't got totally uploaded, so my theory kind of stays to the middle shelf. We got the info, folks. Get online, check Bino Black's channel out. Bino Black's channel at YouTube, and also Supergiants Maine, folks. It's at Bino Black Webs. I think it's binoblack.webs.com. Alright, folks. 7.3 out for now. The holy cow is real, folks. Look at that massive solar, folks. Watch that solar shell come around. It's almost as big as Earth. 70 mass of supergiants, folks, the biggest star. 70 times the size of the sun. There's 100 of them. 4 times it's one of the smallest. Actually, it's like 2 point something. And there's even some that are 1 point. That means they're like an eighth bigger than the sun, okay? 100 of them. All the way up to 70 times the size of the sun, folks. It's electrical magnet. We got the pictures from down in Antarctica to prove it in the next video to also. So I'll try to edit it down. I talked too much. It went to 30 minutes. This looks like about 6 or 7 minutes now. So 7.3 down in Fiji. I thought it was New Zealand when we started taping here, but it's Fiji. And also the South Sandwich Islands got a 5.1 right now. So, alright, so watch the Holy Cows. Holy Cow series, folks. Ellen is out there. It's not really the major cause, but it's all the electrical magnet in space, folks. And everything's getting lit up by the supergiant's light, folks, and the sun. Supergiants have been hiding behind the sun for a long time, folks, and we're getting close to them. Closer than we ever have in a long time, folks. The time clock, the Big Bang theory, and that'll be like the 3rd video that I'll come out with. So this one just really all of a sudden, I just was going to load it, and I hit the earthquake thing, and bang, there she was. 7.3, same time, folks. An hour later than last time, so we'll see if it came around there or where the supergiants were on the next video. The next 2 or 3 videos. So keep watching on the video. 7.3 quaking out.
For you, we have all these buoys offline right now. Most of them in the Atlantic Ocean, Europe. No one is going to get notified if there's a tsunami headed your way unless it's observed through an eye visual contact. And you see this all around the West Coast as well, all through Alaska and Canada. We only have these buoys that are out or further, and that are online. Let's click on a couple of these real quick. And even these are showing that there's some minor activity going on somewhere. Alright, now we do have this one buoy still in event mode over here, showing about almost a 2-meter swing. But as you see, folks, I want to let you know, and look, as you see here, they're almost all turned off except for maybe 4. In the video that I did earlier, all these buoys are still on. You know, Europe was down, and some of the buoys around the west coast was still on. But now, it's like they're dropping like flies, folks. Now, taking a look at the earthquakes real quick. You know, there's been a lot of activity since that 7-pointer and that 6.1 that I reported on earlier over in the Scotia Sea. But, you know, most of it's 3 to 4 pointers, 2-pointers, all over the place. You know, make sure you come over here to this link. Check on the earthquakes every once in a while. We had a swarm of 5-pointers, almost a 6-pointer in the Shenzhen Island region. You see here we're at a 5.7, 5.6 Mid-Atlantic Ridge. And we do have 5.2 here, South Atlantic Ocean. So there's a lot of activity, folks, like 3 pages just for the 17th of earthquakes. Alright, now going over to the RSOE. I click on this thing right here, and it says, sorry, we have no imagery here. Oh yeah, well, then I zoom out. Oh, and then 2 earthquakes pop up in St. Helena region, Half Tree Hollow. That's weird. And then the other one is still in the St. Helena region, another 5.5 as well. So what's going on there? It's a lot of. I did report earlier there was a 5.2 on the earthquake list, but didn't say anything about St. Helena or exactly where it was. Now, all I'm saying is heads up on the buoy situation, folks, because all this talk about tsunami bombs and, you know, some kind of tsunami from meteor impact or anything, and now all of a sudden all the buoys are down, kind of rings a bell for me, doesn't it? Now, going back to RSOE, we had a 2.1 over in the Hawaii region as well, and we had 16 miners that were involved in a mining accident over in the state of Colorado, and several miners were trapped. Around 14 people received injuries from inhaling gas and fumes and other things. Also, we had another plane down today on the 17th at Glasgow Airport over there in Scotland. So we had 2 planes down on the 17th, and we had major flooding going down over in the Middle East, even though they're not really showing it here. But in Egypt, on the 18th, just today, a cargo train was slammed into a vehicle crossing the tracks and killing at least 24 people, many from the same family returning from a wedding party, state TV said. So this happened on the 18th, and yesterday we had major flooding in Saudi Arabia and other places in the Middle East. So what's going on, folks? You see the 2 and 4, 6. So a lot of things going on, folks. Heads up on that. A lot of earthquakes and a lot of buoys down. Also, NOAA isn't showing that they're running any kind of test on these buoys either. So no information.
If there is a new world order, there must also be an old world order, which is very important to understand the new world order. The old world order was the feudal aristocratic system of kings, queens, dukes, counts and earls, whose property we were. They took our women in the prime noctus, or first rite on the first wedding night, and forced our women to sleep with the Lord to spread their pharaonic genetics. They owned all the land, all the cattle, and had all the power, being enforced by their knights, who are now the police and the Blue Octagon Army. So you think they just left it all and just vanished? No. It was this old world order which became the new world order, because the aristocracy were having too many internal wars, where all of them wanted to be king or lord of the castle, and there were more and more of them. So it was decided that any one of them could be the king for a period of 4 years, elected by their slaves, the demos in Greek. And so democracy was born. And because there were too many uprisings and revolutions going on, they decided to become invisible and hide in secret Freemason lodges, being the reason that Freemasons are still attracted to swords, castles, ancient rituals and pharaonic symbols. Especially communism and the Russian Revolution became a real threat to them, killing all the royals and tsars. This is why in fact a counterpart had to be invented to defeat the threat, Nazism. And over these two they had the Western world and privileged capitalism of their financial elite to finally defeat both communism and Nazism. And now they just smile and say, have a nice day. Next to this, there's also the highly organized Templars of Octagon and their base Switzerland, where all the money is. The Templars were like young, wild, revolutionary aristocrats, rebels like, who had to fight for their kingdom, as they were only second or third sons, who therefore had no rights, and it was they who finally came up with the idea of democracy and Freemasonry, thus putting the old monarchies and the French king Philippe le Bel in rage, because he didn't want to give up his kingdom to the new system of the new world order, where all these pharaohs could have a chance. So the Templars founded Switzerland, taking their Templars' treasure with them. And today we still belong to them as their slaves, and that is why we have a passport or ID with a number on it, being our registered slave number of the aristocracy, which we have to show every time their police knight of Octagon commands us to control the flock. Not even the passport itself belongs to us, but it's the property of the state and aristocracy. Neither our children belong to us, they are the property of the state, whom they can take away from us whenever they please, as being their future flock of slave stock. They can arrest you whenever they want, they can put you in prison whenever they please. This is what I had to find out in Octagon, Switzerland, that we are their property, who can steer our lives through terror, lies and injustice. Look, there's even the coat of arms on it of the ones whose property you are. The king. The pharaoh. Well, there he is, King George VI and a Freemason, as I told you, who set Mr. Winston Churchill, the aristocratic warmonger and mass murderer who started World War II. He set him in place. He was not elected by the people. And every American president has one British king as their ancestor. So the pharaohs became the aristocracy. And the aristocracy became Freemasonry, ruling through the system of democratorship, where we, the sheeple, can vote for one of them out of a bunch of other pharaohs. It says in the Bible that the pharaoh and his army disappeared in the sea. They disappeared in the sea of peoples and are amongst us. In pharaonic means pregnant, and ri means a son, as in the word aristocracy. meaning the sun gave birth to them. They came from elsewhere. This is why the aristocratic-led Nazis came up with the word Aryan, Arish, Aryan, as in aristocratic. Look, here we can see it. This is the King of England. There he is, a Freemason. They all are. That's how they control us today. Nice, isn't it? We are just their slaves, as we've always been. Now they're hiding.
There are two sides to coming to terms with an idea that's uncomfortable, unpleasant, or frightening. One is the intellectual side, the facts, the logic, etc. The other is the emotional side. I'm making this video to address a few of the basic mathematical foundations for what I believe will be the greatest collapse in history. This video is a precursor, and in fact a prerequisite for my next video, which will be attempting to get the message across on a more emotional level. Alright, so let's start with the basics. Fact number one. The U.S. imports about 66% of its oil. And this is common knowledge. Fact number two, 70% of that oil is used for transportation. Also common knowledge. Fact number three, the U.S. dollar is not backed by anything physical. It's backed by debt originating from the issuance of bonds. Fact number four, the U.S. debt, currently over $14 trillion, but growing, cannot be paid back. And the rest of the world knows this. Fact number five, oil is currently only sold on the global market in U.S. dollars. And this is due to a set of agreements between the U.S. and OPEC. However, this doesn't just affect OPEC. When Canada buys oil, they buy it in dollars. When France buys oil, they buy it in dollars. This particular situation is often referred to as the petrodollar status. Fact number six, the necessity to have dollars in order to purchase oil in the global market creates the demand for the dollar. And for anybody who would like to dispute this, please refer to fact number three. Fact number seven, the value of the dollar is directly tied to the demand for the dollar. Supply and demand. Basic economics. The obvious conclusion is the petrodollar status which holds up the value of the dollar. Fact number eight, China and Russia just recently agreed to stop using the dollar in all their bilateral trade. This includes oil. Now when Saddam Hussein did the same thing, we invaded Iraq. But we can't invade China or Russia. Now all the facts that I've outlined here are simple, publicly accessible, verifiable. I'm not going to hold everybody's hand and take them out there to do their research. If you want to contest one of these specific ideas, you actually need to do the research yourself. Now the following are the conclusions that I draw from these facts. The United States will lose its petrodollar status. I don't know when, I don't know the exact date, but it's inevitable. When it does, the demand for the dollar will fall precipitously. And as demand drops, the value of the dollar will evaporate. This means hyperinflation. And once hyperinflation is fully underway, other countries will begin refusing to accept dollars for products that they export. This will happen very quickly. Now remember, U.S. imports 66% of its oil. And that oil is not going to keep coming in if exporters no longer accept U.S. dollars. And remember, we established 70% of all domestic oil consumption is used for transportation. So if you subtract that 66% from the 70%, you're left with about 4% left for transport in general. Now it's important to realize that when we say transport, it includes 18-wheelers and all sorts of supply chain transportation, which make up a considerable part of that 70%. In this country, food transport and agriculture are completely dependent on oil. And obviously you can't cut out food transport without causing starvation. Logical conclusion, you're not going to be able to get gasoline to drive your car. Nobody is. However, even cutting back all individual car usage to zero will not be enough to prevent catastrophe. And here's why. Agriculture as we currently practice it in the U.S. is completely dependent on a constant stream of inputs which require transportation, especially the animal industry. Take, for instance, a chicken farm. The farm normally gets deliveries of corn or other feedstocks on a regular basis. Almost no farms grow both the feed and raise the animals. The loss of the petrodollar would lead to astronomical price increases for that transport, and that will translate into astronomical prices in the grocery store. And what you have to understand is this explosion in the cost of transport will affect every single other industry. And as the cost of doing business skyrockets, unemployment will also skyrocket. Now, a large number of the states are already on the verge of bankruptcy. They're not going to be able to feed and house this massive influx of the unemployed. People will go hungry. And when people go hungry long enough, they get desperate. And they become very dangerous. Now, I'm not telling you this to scare you. But if you really understand it, it probably will. When I first came to terms with this, it was earth-shattering for me. And it's no exaggeration to say that I hardly slept for weeks. But at a certain point, you have to make a decision to put your fear aside and start getting ready. Some things we can't change, but some things we can. trick is knowing the difference.